There's been an explosion of virtual events recently. I've seen some that have been great. I've seen some that have missed the mark, and I've seen some that have been truly awful. I wanted to provide for you some of my thoughts as a virtual event speaker for how you can create a great event. The main thing to be thinking about here is that it's not about taking what works in a physical in-person environment and bringing it online. You need to reimagine what's possible. The best virtual events are more like television than they are like theater. Can I geek out a little bit? So I love being on film sets and movie sets. This book I wrote called Marketing the Moon actually was turned into a 3-part American Experience miniseries by PBS, and I loved being a part of that as a contributing producer. I introduced Buzz Aldrin to the film producer and had a chance to be there when he was being interviewed. I've been in films like American Hustle as an actor. I've been in television commercials from companies like Toshiba. I love going on set to film things for CNN and Fox and the other networks when I'm called on as a guest. It's super cool. And this idea of being a part of television is what a virtual event is more like. It's the idea of a television network news program with hosts on the anchor desk, calling in guests that may be pre-recorded or may be live, some interviews, perhaps a musical guest, maybe a little bit of silliness too. And that's exactly what happened with Skillsoft's Perspectives 2020 event that I was a part of. A fabulous 24 hours follow the sun event that started in Sydney and then moved to Singapore and then Delhi and then London and then Boston, over 24 hours in those different studios. It's a total reimagination and reinvention of what's possible. And what's incredibly cool is it's going to include everybody who's watching as well. It's a two-way interaction.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today?
Doing great. That was fabulous. Thank you so much. You know, who could have imagined that we'd be in a studio in Boston speaking to you instead of live on a stage? And who could have imagined that you'd likely be at home or in another personal location watching us? But what's super cool is that because we've gone virtual, we can reach so many more people and get you involved in real time. So let's get involved in real time right now, shall we? If you're planning a virtual event, it's really important to work with your speakers to make sure that their setup is as good as it possibly can be. I like my little home studio, especially because I've got my slides over my shoulder here, as opposed to what so many of the platforms' defaults are, which is the really, really big slides and a little tiny thumbnail of the speakers. While my studio may be a little bit bigger than most people need, it's really important to make sure that your speakers look as good as they possibly can. I recently presented where a really well-known keynote speaker was presenting in portrait mode on their smartphone, looking up their nose with a whole bunch of lights in the background. It was terrible. When your speakers look great, it makes your event come alive. While everybody doesn't need to have a studio in their home, some good equipment can help a lot. So I use a camera that's slightly above my eye level. I have a decent light, and I have a fabulous microphone. Simple stuff, a couple of $100, and you're good to go. Great in-person events are two-way. They involve the audience throughout the entire event. So there's opportunities for the audience members to meet at the coffee breaks, at the cocktail receptions. There's opportunities for the speakers to interact with the audience members. These things create a valuable tribe of like-minded people and builds fans for the organization that sponsors the event. But most virtual events are one way. So how can you create two-way interaction in your virtual event? The first thing is to take a look at the platform. What does the platform offer in terms of features? Some of the things I like to use, the chat feature. Right away when I first start to present, I ask a chat question. Some of the platforms have polling features that allow us to have polls and get the audience involved. I like to do that about every 10 minutes. Some of the virtual event platforms have breakout rooms. That's an opportunity for you to put 4 or 6 people together on a regular basis, maybe about every half hour, for them to interact with one another. And the social media hashtag, a great way for people to connect in a back channel way, perhaps using Twitter for communications as an event's going on. For example, in Perspectives 2020, there were over 2,000 interactions on social media during the 24 hours. The best virtual events don't try to recreate what's going on in an in-person event. They reimagine what's possible in an online medium. I'm hoping you got some ideas out of this video, and if I can help, please let me know. I have my presentation that I can do either here in my in-house studio. It's called Turning Customers into Fans. I can customize for your group, and for a truly fabulous experience, much like a television show, I have a relationship with a studio in Boston. We can have multiple cameras and all sorts of bells and whistles going on. So please reach out to me if I can help you.